Antoine Dixon, skateboarder for Baker Boys. I just found out that Baker stopped giving him money and stopped producing his boards when his attitude problems started arising. I took it personal. I'm making a video about it because I'm one of on Baker. I'm one of those on Birdhouse too. I'm a unicorn. Right, 30-foot waves by myself, no vest, none of that shit that these surfers wear today. I don't care when it comes to that. Like today now they want to wear a vest. They want they want inflatables. Nah, you do that shit, less than less than 15 years before, 15 years ago, a little less than that. Nobody needed a vest at a 30-foot wall of flame, whitewater. It's a modern thing that the 20-foot range is already vest. No, you go in there and surf and ride a wave and come out. It's like you see it. Oh, you got to grab your board right. You got to focus on your hand strength, not your breath. Your hand strength is the most important factor. That's why my hands hurt people if I were to actually want to cause harm, But let's touch a little. Let's touch on Dixon for a little bit. Dixon's a tight friend of mine. I remember he was still a kid. Hold on, let me check back. Uh, Dixon. Yeah, it was younger than me. I remember hanging out with him, smoking weed with him, with Lizard King, with Greco. Right, Death Wish had already come out around the same year. Spent a lot more time with Greco than Antoine. But it feels different to the treatment of Dustin Dollin because Antoine Dixon is a piss drunk. I'm a piss drunk. When I was active, 3 pitchers of beer and I could still skate on a rail, bolts like a freight train. Choo choo. And I got both of my knees messed up from snowboarding from that little trip too. So my hops was not there after the trip. My hops lasted for a little bit after coming back and doing snowboarding contests with Lindsey Vonn, right? Shalom, with Olympic Shaun, little Shaun White, right? And it's heart problem or whatever, and going back to California, in which I immediately ollied over El Toro. Immediately. Coming from the snowboarding trip, El Toro felt like 15 feet. It felt like if you're on top of the basket, it felt like something you do on a snowboard every 10 seconds or so, right? Something that's like, oh, look at that. It's just jump like nothing on a board. A lot of people saw me do that first try too, just like, yep, boom, on the other way. But my knees were already messed up, the right one, so I couldn't ollie as much leading up to these events. But getting there, I was with piss drunk, you know? Basically, it started, this whole story starts in Canary Islands, right? And from Canary Island to Hawaii. And from Hawaii to California. I leave with Eric Costin from Oahu. I find Eric Costin surfing in Oahu. And I leave with Costin back to California. And I start hanging out with Costin. P-Rod shows up. Atiba. is the key player. I stopped hanging out with Costin the second Paul pulled up with Atiba, and we were doing lines, and Costin had given me food or whatever. And then I ended up meeting Greco and hanging out with Greco and Ellington and Figgy, right? And then leaving, right? And then coming back and being with Tony and with Sean, and then leave, and then coming back to California, right? You know the life. Everyone knows what they did those years. I was part of that group. I remember seeing Andrew Reynolds do the front side. Remember that front side that has the big cement poles? I jumped that. I had a cast in my hand. I remember going to a contest with T-Pud, a pretty decent rail too. It was like a really high cut-off rail to nothing, like ollie, and then it's like a 5 foot, 6 foot drop down to the bottom. But let's get to talking about Antoine, because I'm all over the place. I'm with Kelly Slater. I'm with Andy Irons. I'm with Sean White. I'm with Tony Hawk. I'm with Greco. I'm with Antoine and Costin. I'm with Jeff Grasso. I'm all over the place in a very short amount of time. Basically, they were everywhere. So Antoine was one of the pissed drunks. You know, what's Baker is drinking. Drinking, that's all you do. That's all you want to do. Drink. Inject ginseng into your leg. Ginseng. Remember them jars of ginseng? Yeah. Put that in your leg. Get you fucking solid. Panax ginseng to the blood is something that's really, really strong. And I still had, when I came back from skateboarding at 25, I still had little bits of that ginseng on my feet. They were coming out, right? Like, because once you do like an intramuscular injection of ginseng for strength, it pulls up, it stays there. I remember skateboarding later on, by the time I'm 20, 24, 25, with Edward Duff in Doylestown, that ginseng was coming out my foot. And my nails were bleeding again. And yeah, skateboarding. Everyone knows what that is. Your nails bleed. You know, liquids start coming out of places. Yeah, nails start bleeding out the motherfucker. Oh, I was with them. And then I see the latest video, right? The stories video. After Antoine nailed a version 550 of Thrasher magazine. Classic stance, hands tucked, coming out the air, coming out the chopper. Just that could have been a 360 flip for all we know. He was gonna land that bolt. So why would they do that to Antoine if Dahlin got the special treatment? Right? Why didn't just they pull off Dustin Dahlin board from Baker if Dahlin drank Dahlin, Nugent, Lizard King, right? Ellington, Greco drank way more than Antoine. I remember I was there. Way more. And Figgy too, downing bottles, liquor to skate. Yeah, because the courage you need to jump and go land on your back and hit your head on the pavement. Boom. You need a special type of, product. Ginseng, liquor, right? You need maybe heroin in your leg or some coke. You need something, cannabis. Let me tell you a story before I continue. When I was active in 2011, 2013, before I left to the military, they were smoking moon rocks. Keef, but it was like dope. It was fucking dope. She was smoking dope. It was a she. She was rolling it up on paper. And it reminded me of P-Rod at Costin. Because just a whiff of that, just a whiff, is the difference between a minute-long manual in pure tactical control on a board than me being regular. So I remember riding around LES, just taking a waft of, what is that? Is that bud? Is that dope? And then all of a sudden doing a manual, stuck, right? Like, you know which type of stuck I'm talking about. Just like on top of something like, damn, son. Damn, son. Damn, son. And right there, I tried no slide, tried for the first time, heel flipping it out, full control. Full control. Doing things that, completely different to the old me. The old me was very wild. I had all the tricks laid out. I did MACBA. I know most people don't remember that. I had a monkey that velcroed from its hands. I crossed the street onto MACBA, and it was like a 540 flip impossible. A trick that I did years later on flat ground in front of Tony Hawk and Greco. And they went crazy from a distance. Tony messed up his hair. Tony's hair is usually, combed. He was with Greco back there. And they messed up his hair, started twirling and dancing in circles. Freestyle. Did 540 impo on flat. And I was rolling. And I seen it, just chopper. Tap, 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 tap. Impo with the foot, catch the back foot, power, roll away. The same thing I did in MACBA. The same thing. And people yelling and screaming. I had a cap on, white shirt. I remember clearly. I was really pretty. Really, really pretty. But, you get into fights, your teeth get crooked, you do drugs, your face changes, right? You're pretty still on one side, you're ugly looking on the other side. But I did a lot of things. Shaun White, Greco, this and that. Go back to Antoine. Antoine gets his board pulled, cutting off his income supply, being the biggest star in Baker, or one of the biggest stars in Baker. Just because he got a little aggressive. He had some aggressive nature, right? From the fame and fortune at an early age. But why? Why do that? If it's pissed drunk, you got Dahlin. Dahlin's still drinking. He has not stopped. He's lucky he doesn't look like he's 60. He's lucky because I've had friends of mine here in New Jersey that drank hard and they look like they're 60 today and they're only 40. They get wrinkled. They got the grandpa face going on. Why? Why would Baker do that to Antoine? That's so personal, like it's some competition vendetta. Is it the cops narrative? Is it that he's involved in gang violence? I don't know. I don't care. Crip blood, I'm still gonna hang out with Antoine if we ever meet up. I'd probably get him to drink. Because that's all we know how to do. Drink and skate. I would probably be a bad influence. I wouldn't smoke, but I would probably be a bad influence. What do you want to go so that these people don't see us? And let's, I want a 2.5, 8.5 board and the lowest truck possible, like a 140 low hollow titanium independent truck, right? Like a 7.5, 725 truck with really small diameter wheels and a pretty big wheel, like over 8. And I'll pick up with someone like Antoine next to me. I'll come back to skateboarding the same day with all this jiggle. Got some jiggle in me. But why? Why do it to Antoine and not Nudge, and not Figgy, and not Darlin, and or even Greco himself. Why not do it to why him? It feels so personal. It wasn't really like a good we need you sober friend perspective. I think it was some form of black and white thing going on, or I wouldn't say racism, but some identity thing about him. Like, no, you don't do that. He knows that when we come out and skate, it's guns and pistols and it's gang activity. He knows. I know that if I'm with them and it's late night and it's gang activity. We going to the hood in California. If we end up what's to the hood? Constant is gangster too. You'll go to the hood. I don't know now if he's kind of on the afraid side, but yeah, to the hood. Gangster knows, gangster knows gangster. But I took it personal. I took it personal that I didn't know this part of the story. That Baker cut his money, his check, stopped cutting him his check, took the board out of rotation, and now 2020, he's 5 years sober. So he technically has been sober since 2020. Around 2020, I just seen the video. He has 5 years on the AAA this year. So he's likely went sober in and around 2019, 2020. But why? It's skateboarding. It's just, it should have been attitude control, not outright canceling him and shit, right? Being Antoine. That was wrong. That was wrong. They probably would have done the same thing to me too. But I was a little bit more special. My Baker board has waves in it, and I know it's just waves. Not a tube in it, just little surfers, and it's blank. The first layer. Roman. But never made it. Or the birdhouse one. Never made it. Because parents always in the way of our listening to parents a little bit too much when there's fame and fortune involved. It's not a good idea. They're gonna time things. Like if they're against you altogether. But yeah, I feel that. Antoine Dixon got the short end of the straw when they were all thinking about their sobriety at the peak of their each other's fame. But they never pulled the card. They never pulled Darlin's card or Nudge card or Figgy's card when they were all fucking shit faced. Greco and shit. Greco's and all of them are alcoholics. But they skate good as hell on alcohol. That's the thing. Me, if I don't have 3 pitchers in me, I'm not gonna do a heel flip greater than 25 miles an hour. And I'm likely gonna land it both if I'm trying in front of these people across God knows how long. That's how it is. You have to slow down perception. Alcohol is there for a reason. Without alcohol, there's no steez. For some of them. For some of them, it's natural steez. Right? Children's steez. How kids do it. But for some of them, the liquor is there for a purpose. The beer is there for a purpose. It gives you not just courage, but time dilation. I'm going to kick, push as fast as I can, completely inebriated and pop a trick and land it and keep rolling. And that's going to be the wildest thing you've seen on camera. But that's alcohol. That's the nature of alcohol. And I haven't skateboarded for all of my 30s, and I'm 40s now. All of my 30s. I don't think I skated. I think I skated once in my 30s. fell from a 6-foot quarter pipe to the skateboard landing right here on my rib cage. Felt my prostate, my pancreas leak a little water, a little blood on the inside. You know that leak that you took a bail, a pretty serious bail. You always feel the body dripping, a little drop of liquid coming inside your body. Like, did a heel flip and I hung up the gloves. Just one, a good one, and that was it. And I stopped completely. Not because I got hurt, but I just stopped. It was time to stop. In school, no time, just education. And education took most of my time until I was 37. 10 years in school. 10 years in school. Ten to become a doctor today, but I don't know. It's kind of fishy. All the money that Antoine could have right now from his board with such a big lapse of Baker money in his pocket from them pulling his board over politicking. No politicking. You know, it's drugs and rock and roll. Everyone knows skateboarding is drugs and rock and roll. You're a rock star. Even at the skill that I was, having a demo with Greco again would have been the highlight of my entire life. Later, after the 540 Impossible on flat, just having one more demo with him and Lister King and Antoine in a small park with a perfect pyramid, you know the type, perfect pyramid, decent gap over a fire hydrant, the flatty, a small hubble. That would be phenomenal. That would have been the highlight of my entire life. Just instead of remembering what we did on the street and just one public demo with Death Wish. And that would have been everything for me. Everything. Ali North, that motherfucker. Fucking kung fu and shit. You know? I know these people. I know these people for a while. I know Costin since a young age. You know who was the first one I knew? Andy McDonald. And Costin from and Grasso. Grasso's day one. Subculture skate spot. I mean, subculture skate shop, Roselle Park, New Jersey. He was there when I broke my arm at the public library. So imagine. And he stalked me through towns when I was looking or headed to skate parks, random skate parks. Just seeing him in the van, just looking. He's skateboarding. You know, he's real strict. Grasso wasn't gonna take you in like that unless you did an Andrek or Big Air, you know, right? Unless you were doing incredible stuff. But he was there with his binoculars, looking. He had a passenger in the car. I think it was Greco. Like, what is he doing? Camcorder. Like, look, Roman in the motherfucking dressed in black. Oh, look at that front side air, back to back. Ooh, you know, like, oh, you know, they were looking. That was in the middle of nowhere. That ramp, I found it in the middle of nowhere. Hopefully they turned it into, hopefully a little investment turns places like that into really good skate parks. But they did Antoine wrong. Why? Why are you going to pull the card on Antoine for drinking and now have him sober at 40? You know, it's like, Antoine, pop the Heineken out. Get like a 36 pack Heineken. Like, are you sure you're going to be sober for these people? You know, like, are you sure? Are you sure you're going to, you know, like, I'm the bad influence right here. Are you sure you're gonna keep sober for these people? This one's for you, man. Do I pour it out? You want me to pour it out? Are we gonna really do this? You know, like you really want me to pour this out right here before the skate session? You know, it's sad. It's a sad thing because most of the best stuff of theirs came because they were shitted. They were pissed drunk. Their best work is pissed drunk. The best footage is, without a doubt, DUI. The only person that was clean through that entire process, Beagle Andrew Reynolds. Lightly. Everyone else, it's a rock star. It's a rock star. So these people are very influential in my life. I got to meet them. Got to skate. Got to be around getting away while they're all trying shit, you know? Like, let me go. I'm going in the way. Oh, I'm going now. Pop up. Ollie threw it and landed. You know? That's how it is. Those are the things that I did with my life, you know? So I feel that Antoine got the short end of the straw with his Baker contract by not paying him over drinking and attitude problem while drunk. But that is the nature of skateboarding. Skateboarding is not a clean fit. Skateboarding is not a clean tee, a clean t-shirt, a brand t-shirt. It's not a marketing ad. Skateboarding is raw, rugged, heroin to the vein, cocaine to the vein, Jay Adams style, you know, speedball, straight to the vein, not the skin, right? It's sleeping in abandoned houses, putting mattress foam taped to your ankles because you got heel pain. It's the nasty sense. Breaking bones, hurting yourself. It's not the pretty thing that it slowly became after Death Wish Baker and the end of the piss drunk era. Piss drunk basically pushed the limits of what was possible. Aside some examples, Jamie, Leap of Faith, Sheckler, the parking lot gap, and some of them that were probably sober, doing very amazing things sober, but the majority of the great feeling behind skateboarding is likely cannabis or inebriated substances, alcoholic beverages. It's part of an American pastime and having a good time. There's a closer link to skateboarding as drinking and barbecue than it is to marketing models and features to take pictures and clean skinny figures with face tats or tattoos to put on advertisements for magazines, right? Like for models, it's basically the difference of real hardcore pro surfers that will show up in Pipeline when it's 20 feet and marketing based on geopolitical boundaries, picking only the beautiful face to sell product. Now, skateboarding, being a drink and barbecue type of pastime, is, was tested with the Antoine Dixon case based on the sudden rise of talent, marketing talent, and geopolitical, right? Geographical sales, market penetration based on these people that they select and what they select them for, which is sell skateboards. You know, surfing suffered the same fate. Skateboarding, thankfully, they are not super pretty people because with surfing, they have to be beautiful. All they want to do is sell product and go surfing when it's sunny and beautiful and 90 degrees out. And if that happened with skateboarding, it would be the end of skateboarding altogether. But it's not going to happen because skateboarding is rugged, gritty, underground, punk, nasty. You know, it has a really hardcore background of pain, masochism, suffering, alcoholism, drug use that still is being shown through the pages and videos that we consume on a day-to-day basis. The case of Antoine Dixon, I believe, was a simple solution. Just calm him down, let him drink, but only when not in public and only when recording videos, skate videos, not around people, only among brothers, friends, cameras, spots, right? Filming for content and not in public in which the crowd brings up a certain energy or brought in him a certain energy that Baker undeniably underpaid him do. Name is Dr. Roman Bonilla, and I hope all of you have a great day.